Well, good morning, everybody. Here we are, Thursday, March 25th. And thank you for tuning in to the Resilience Talk Network and the Morning Kickstart. I'm Brad Neufeld.
And I'm Walther.
And we're here today to give you a tip. Well, actually, a quote first, a positive quote, then a tip for the day, something to challenge you on to get so that you'll work on it throughout the day, that you can just do little tiny pieces here and there to help make your life better. And then also we have a fun fact for the day, and you're going to love this one. Should I give it away a little bit, Jay?
No. Oh, no.
I'll let it be a surprise. So anyway, so what is our quote for the day?
Okay. Our quote today comes from Jimmy Johnson.
Okay, the football coach?
Football coach, yep. He says, the only difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little extra.
That's good.
I like that. So, you can be ordinary or you can be extraordinary just with a little extra.
Where do you find the extra?
Well, that's what we talk about here.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. Yes.
Right. We're the
find
ones
it at Resilience Talk Network. Remember that.
That's right.
So anyway, our tip for the day, well, people ask me this all the time. What is resilience? Well, it's a word that's hard to spell. And yeah, I tease some people.
That hides in there.
Yep. Yeah, I had a guy ask me, have you ever studied karate? I says, yeah, I know karate and 10 other Japanese words. So we'll keep it there. So anyway, but the word resilience, what it is it's a resilience is being able to overcome any challenge that you face in your life. Okay. And what is the purpose of doing that? Why do we even need to have challenges? I know some people just, their belief systems are such that they just feel like this whole earthly experience is just a pain, and they're just not, and they do crazy things to their bodies. They do crazy things to their minds, to other people, just trying to find some joy where joy, long-term joy really doesn't exist. And the things that I've noticed over the years, there are things in life that make all human beings happy, and there's things that don't make human beings happy. Okay. And so the thing is, this thing with the happiness or the fulfillment in life can sometimes be a challenge. And I know how it is when you're going for something that you want, or you get this idea that comes to you. The first thing you do is say, now what? And that's what stops a lot of people. They don't know what to do next. Okay. They don't know what that first step is. I know our Jim Rohn quote yesterday was just start. That was the tail end of it anyway. No matter what's going on in your life, just start. Well, some people don't know where to start. Okay. And I get that. And so sometimes, and well, let me back up just a hair here, but a lot of times that fear is there. Well, I don't want to take a step because I don't know what's going to happen. It might make things worse than I have it now. So I might as well just stay here in my comfort zone, in my little bubble, and I'll just be happy with what I've got. This happens all the time. People who are around the age of, when you get to be teenagers, just think of it. Just remember back about how excited you were to get out of high school. If I just get out of high school and get all that behind me, there's this big old world out there, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to conquer it. Everything's just holding me back. And as soon as I get all of those, out of my parents' house and all this stuff, I'm going to have all these great things happen, right? Well, that excitement can last until you're about 25 years old. But then something starts to happen after that. That's when this whole process of the fears that come into our life that prevent us from doing things. We've already had enough experience and had enough failures that we just go, you know what, maybe I just better settle and just go this different direction and just get through life however I can. And I'm going to say to that, nonsense. Okay. It's time, especially here in this world today with everything that's going on, and it can be kind of crazy or seem kind of crazy, but I'm actually excited about it. There's so many opportunities that are ahead here. Everybody that's listening to this, take the time to stop for a minute and think, okay, what are my talents? What are my skills? What can I bring to the world? What can I bring that's going to bless my life, that's going to bless the life of my family and the lives of those in my community? Start thinking of things that way and watch how things open up. You're going to have all kinds of ideas come to you. Write them down. Now, the next step is, what do I need to do in order to make this happen? Because, see, people who are successful, they don't just sit there and go, oh, let me try to find an easy way to get this done. No, they know there's going to be all these blockades in front of them. They know there's going to be times where things aren't going to work out and they're going to have to take 2 steps back. You know, the mountain climber that's climbing the icy ridge. You hear this all the time with people that's climbed Mount Everest. They take 3 steps and lose 2 steps at the during the same little thing there. So it actually takes them a lot longer to get up there because of the steepness, and they're just not able to get the grips that they're looking for. But anyway, they don't stop. They just keep going, and eventually when they finally get to the top, the euphoric feeling they have of, I made it. That's what they're seeking there, to know that they were able to go and conquer that big challenge that was ahead of them. And you'll have that same thing too. But if you go into anything just with the reality that it's going to take some time, and it's just like that old saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You'll never eat it all in one bite. Yep. So take it, break it into bite-sized pieces, make little steps here or there, and the next thing you know, it's going to take some time, but you'll wake up one morning and you'll go, you know what? I'm living it. It's happening. And that I can promise you. But here at the Resilience Talk Network, that's what this is all for, is to help you so you don't give up. That's what we're here for. And so we want your input. We want you to talk to us. What are you needing out there? I have had the blessings in my life where I've had the ability to work with over 3,500 families throughout my career. And I've seen miracles, guys. I've seen lots of them. And I like to, again, share that knowledge that I have. Well, Jay has his own perspective on things, and guess what? He's just as, he's got just as many stories as I do. But guess what? There's people here who have been there, done that, and they can show you how to get through these trials that you're going through and actually become empowered by them. So when we talk about what is resilience, it's the ability to get to any goal that you want to get to have the tenacity to get through anything that's thrown at you. That is what resilience is. And I just feel very strongly that all of us out there that are listening to this can do that very thing. So doggone it, let's get this thing a moving, right?
That's right.
We're here to help. So I can't wait for this fun fact here, Jay.
I actually begged Brad to let me do this section because I am the biggest J.R.R. Tolkien fan I know.
Yep.
So today, celebrated around the world on March 25th, is Tolkien Reading Day, and is a favorite among fans of this renowned author like me. Now, I started reading Tolkien when I was in, I don't know, you call it middle school. Anyway, about the 7th grade, I really was not a big reader. And like a lot of kids now, Tolkien to me was like Harry Potter is now. Mm-hmm. It's what got me reading. Or like Richard Paul Evans's book, the Michael Vey series. It was exciting. It was different. A lot of people, even at that time, didn't really understand the book, but it really took me away into another world. And I really journeyed into that world. I fell deep into that. And so I love to read Tolkien. He was an English writer. He was a poet. He was a philologist, which is someone who studies languages. Mm-hmm. And he was a university professor. Now, everybody knows the movies, The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings. He also, with his son, wrote the Silmarillion. He wrote all the parts, and his son put that together. But it was basically the backstory of the Hobbit and this Middle Earth and how these people came to be. And all of these books just are so rich in the storytelling. They're so rich in the world, what they call world building now. Our authors call it world building. Yeah, before Tolkien, we had these ideas of goblins and elves and giants and ogres and all the things you see in those books, you see on the screen now, but he really is the one that brought them to life.
Gotcha.
He's the one to me that really made those kind of that world real. And so everybody is encouraged today to go down on the shelf and dust off that copy of The Hobbit. And let's read a little Tolkien and escape into the Middle Earth and go on an adventure today. So,
will I find my golden ring, Jay?
well, I hope you don't find the One Ring. That one's a little
That's true.
dangerous, but maybe, a little treasure, a little adventure, fight some bad guys, save a few maidens, that kind of thing. So.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Jay. Yeah, definitely dive into that. I know a lot of people who love those stories and stuff like that. Matter of fact, we used to go. I loved it when it was there was how many years there in a row during December that those movies would come out.
Yeah,
and that's what we did for our family as our family activity on Christmas. My friend said, "Oh, you ought to go to the movies on Christmas Day," and I was like, "Why would I want to do that?" Kind of thing. But he talked us into it, and we went, and it just became a family tradition, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We haven't been able to, obviously, because of COVID here, but that kind of messed things up. But we'll get back on track with it. No, but thank you for sharing that tip, Jay. Really quick, our author spotlight today, our podcast host spotlight today is going to be Mrs. Joanne Glim. And if you don't know who she is an award-winning author, wrote the book Trapped Within. Joanne is a stroke survivor. She had a stroke about 24 years ago, and she tells her story about what she did going from just all hopelessness to of course, writing the book and just having this feeling of, what, I don't want my life to stop right now. She had everything going for her, and it just came to a halt. But she says, you know what? I'm going to make some things happen. But her and I met about 2.5 years ago at a book writing conference with Mr. Richard Paul Evans. And she was talking to me about wanting to do a podcast. And of course, I do podcast coaching. So I said, you know what? Why don't we go ahead and set that? I'll help you set it up, and then you can take and run with it. Excuse me. But as she was going along there, she came back to me and says, you know what, Brad? Because I asked her the question, what would you call the podcast if you're going to do it? And it took her a little while, and she comes back to me and she says, I think I know what I want to call it. I want to call it Don't Count Me Out. And I thought, that's awesome. I love that name.
Yeah.
Well, she asked me to do a couple of episodes with her just to get things started. And so I agreed to it. But then as I was getting into it, because at first I didn't know if I quite belonged there, because I didn't necessarily. I've had a total of 7 what you call mini strokes. TIAs is what they call them, and so I just and also I've had a brain injury where I had a brain abscess, and that's a story in and of itself. But I just kind of fit in with the community a little bit and just realized, you know what, there's something I can give back to this community here. So she wanted to start this podcast called Don't Count Me Out. So she's the co-host of it. And I say co-host because I'm also part of that podcast. And so we're just having a lot of fun. We're 40 episodes in now, and it's just really making a difference out there in that community, and it's just amazing what's happening. But you'll want to hear the testimonial here from Mrs. Joanne Glim, and hear a little bit about her podcast called Don't Count Me Out. And you can hear the Don't Count Me Out podcast here on the station at resiliencetalknetwork.com Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And so anyway, Jay, we're wrapping up the show. Please, if you're listening to this on Facebook, please like our thing here. Well, if you like it, we only want you to like it if you like it, right? Okay. And if you're listening on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. It just helps us to get the word out about these things a lot more. Anyway, we're here Monday through Friday, first thing in the morning, and we're hopefully going to put these out on a podcast here. We're starting to get some feedback coming in, and we're sure appreciative of your comments. And so please keep them coming in. We want to see if we can do these to where they'll be on pretty much all of the podcast hosting companies, right?
Yeah.
Apple Podcast and all that. So you'll be able to get these and just listen to them first thing in the morning. So we're doing that for you. And so again, thank you for your feedback. Anyway, here we go, Miss Joanne Glim. All right, everybody, welcome back to Resilience. We continue this week with our show host spotlight. And this is one of the shows that we have that we're receiving some rave reviews from, and we're so glad to have this. This is called the Don't Count Me Out show, the Don't Count Me Out podcast. And one of the hosts on it is Joanne Glim. Joanne Glim is a award-winning author for the book Trapped Within. Joanne had a stroke about 24 years ago, correct?
24, yes.
And wrote the book, and she's had gotten a lot of success with that book. And so anyway, even though I am part of this podcast, which is kind of interesting as well, I'd like everybody out there to hear it from Joanne. Where did this come from? Because it's definitely Joanne's concept where the Don't Count Me Out came from. Tell us a little bit, Joanne, how this came to be.
Well, sometimes in life there are seeds that are planted and they take a while to germinate. And that's exactly the way I see the start for this show. Brad and I had an opportunity to meet at a writers' conference about two and a half years ago. And I was curious because I knew that he did podcasts. We both have a background in radio, but I had no clue as to what podcasts really were. And we happened to be mates at the table for dinner one night and got into the conversation about podcasting. And so we sat and we talked about it, and he kind of just dropped a hint about, oh, maybe you ought to think about doing this. And I just kept saying no because of having this stroke. I had aphasia, and my speech wasn't the way it should be. It wasn't broadcast ready anymore. And so I really had given up on the idea of ever doing anything where I would be communicating in this fashion ever again.
Yeah.
And so about maybe 9 months later, you invited me to come on to the Resilience Talk Network and share my story and the story about the book. And so I said, sure, and we had a great time. We laughed and giggled through that whole interview. And so it kind of, I was thinking about it, but that wasn't foremost in my mind. And before we stopped, Brad asked me, he said, if you had a podcast, what would you call it? Well, it just totally floored me. And I just could not come up with an answer at all. So I asked him, I says, why don't you ask me again later?
Okay.
And so
I remember that.
And so we were together again. I don't remember why we were recording, but we were for something. And I remember asking you, I said, ask me that question again. You said, okay. And so he did. And I said, I would call it Don't Count Me Out. And you went,
and I remember that.
I love it.
That is the perfect name.
Yep. And so that's where the birth took place for this program.
Yes. And so Joanne, this we've matter of fact, this particular week that that you're seeing this here, this will be our 40th podcast already. So we've been doing this for a little while, and it has turned into something spectacular. We're helping a lot of people, and I myself, if I haven't mentioned it on any of the other podcasts, I've had a brain injury myself, and also I've had I still have to ask Joanne every time what those things are called, the little mini strokes, but
TIAs.
TIAs. And so I've had a total of 7 of those, and most of the time I didn't even know what they were. And so when Joanne first approached me about when we talked about this and doing it, and she asked me to be on it, I said, well, I'll help you get it started, but I don't know if I'm necessarily in that genre or not. But man, the more we got into it, I'm right in the middle of it.
Yeah. You found your home.
I found my home. And so anyway, we've been teamed up, and we're going to be doing this for as long as I can imagine. So because of the people that we're able to help. And so the Don't Count Me Out podcast. And so who's our audience for this one, Joanne? Who are you looking to reach out to the most?
It's actually a multi audience, and that doesn't happen very often. But definitely the stroke survivor, because so many people who have had strokes, once it happens, you're so confused and you feel so alone, and you're not sure where to turn to find any more help. And especially after, if you've been in the hospital, sometimes you just end up going home. Other times you end up in a rehab facility and you have so much time for physical therapy, and then you're out the door and it's up to you to continue, because a lot of times when you're released, you're not ready for prime time. You don't
Right.
have the skills that you need. And, people don't realize that there's a depression segment that goes with this, because you really have no idea who you are anymore. You have to find that. It's a big part of the healing process. So
Right.
stroke survivors, absolutely. The caregivers and family, because a lot of times, you might not be acting quite like yourself.
Right.
you know,
Exactly.
you may have had a personality change. And so, they have to help to understand that you can go through a lot of just being exhausted, and you are, because your brain was so badly injured. You need that extra sleep. So
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
not, you're not being lazy like some family members may think. It has nothing to do with it. It's just that your body and your mind are trying to heal.
Yeah.
And the other one is the medical profession. We have a lot of nurses that absolutely love this show. And I got a thing after someone had read the book Trapped Within. And she told me, she said, I know how to treat stroke survivors physically, but I had no idea what you endure emotionally, spiritually, and from reading the book and watching the show, I'm getting a better education as to how to care for you. And for anybody that's curious, maybe somebody in your family, your great great grandpa may have died from a stroke, but you really don't know what it really means. Come and watch the show.
Yeah.
It may help you to have a better understanding.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you can find this show right here on Resilience Talk Network. You can find it on our YouTube channel. If you just go to the Resilience Talk Network on YouTube, you can look up our playlists and you'll find the Don't Count Me Out. As a matter of fact, it's right towards the top because it's one of our most watched and listened to podcasts. So, and we have a new episode that comes out every Thursday at 12 noon Eastern time. And so be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that bell so those will come in every time we get a new one. And it's also on our network station at 3 p.m. Mountain Time, Monday through Friday. You can get that on Resilience Talk Network right here at the bottom, resiliencetalknetwork.com, and click on Listen Live. And again, that's between 3 and 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, Monday through Friday. You'll be able to hear the episodes there as well. But anyway, Joanne, thank you so much for being one of our show hosts and being on the network. We really appreciate you and all that you do. And we're just going to keep having fun, right?
Absolutely, and thank you for being my partner in this. I
Oh, you got it.
couldn't do it without you.
I'm a happy man. So let's keep this thing rolling. All right. Thank you so much again, everybody. This is Joanne Glim, award-winning author of the book Trapped Within. And be sure and catch our shows right here on the Resilience Talk Network.